So if you want to use AI, you need to clearly define exactly what you're making, what the input is going to be, and what you want to predict or what you want to, what you want to do with the AI.
I mean,
So,
very simple, right, Shad?
Okay.
In this
So,
case, it's Joy, don't think too much, right? Very
mhm.
simple. What AI is used for? AI is used to predict a best thing for a person, right? Or the correct thing for a
Right.
person at a very high level, right? I mean,
Right. To
to
make a
me, to
decision.
me, once you have the database of, let's say, 10,000 thousands of videos with skills,
Mhm.
and depending upon
Mhm.
the inputs from the employer, you can do a simple AI, right? Not necessarily you have to do a bigger AI to kind of prioritize whatever, right? To experience simple logic, you can create some kind of a formula and then you can apply that to the algorithm and train them, right? Shad, am I
Oh,
speaking in the right direction?
yeah, but again, you need to know what you're collecting. I don't know if you've reached that point yet where you know what you're going to collect. Um, so that's the issue.
because AI is strong when your input is strong, right? The data. Based on what model that you want to create, if there is no data, you
The
can't create a model.
no. The
Can you?
input doesn't only need to
Huh.
be strong; it also needs to be consistent and standardized. So if you're saying we're
Uh,
gonna collect resumes, then okay, you're gonna collect a lot of resumes, and then you need to label them and all of that, right? So
right.
you need to know what you're collecting or what the inputs are.
Yeah, so start, Joy, start with an idea, Joy, like I told you, simple idea, and then identify 50 to 150 inputs. How many minimum inputs is there any constraint, Shad, for that AI?
No, there's no minimum inputs, but you need to know what those inputs are. Those need to be standardized. That's the most
Yeah,
important thing. So if
yeah.
you want
So
videos, for example, then the way the videos are done or the questions that are asked, those need to be standardized. That's all.
yeah, and also the skills inputs, right, can be standardized, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We can, we don't want to give attendees to kind of give hundreds of skills, right? Doesn't make any sense. We wanted them to give top 10 skills, what they can, they are the best, and also prepare the video based on what they are the best, right? So if you are able to standardize between these two things, then you can use AI
Okay.
outcome.
Mhm. Okay. So we will, we can give them a drop down. They can pick their skill sets, and they
Yeah,
can speak to those skills.
ask them to type in, doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Both you can do. If there are some skills which you don't have in a drop down, they can add it in, right?
Yeah. We can add it and then add those skills to the database.
Joy, I don't want to discuss in this call, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what
Sure,
I
brother. Yeah.
yeah
I get it.
what I wanted to make sure is that um, you guys go through this process, because I'm very interested to see how you guys go through this process, how you are going to work together as a team, and how you are able to deliver this, towards the end. It's going to be real. Then we can think about what else is required officially for you to kind of put this in your resume and things like that, right? We can figure that out afterwards, right? But I wanted
All
you to go through this and get that experience, and don't change the idea, Joy, at this point of time. You will have
right.
ample amount of time in future to come up with new ideas to do new projects, right? With
Right.
same and new teams. Okay.
Okay. All right, Kada. We'll stick to this, and we'll stick to.
Yeah. So the second thing I want to ask you is any of your team members, both Shad and Joy, fall out? Like they joined initially and after that they are not joining in your meetings.
Yes, one or two of them, but they have not said no yet. Right? When I called a couple of them today. They said they were going to join, but they did not. Maybe something came up, but they didn't say no to me. So I assume they
Someone,
are still the team.
Nadia Bashir, whose team was that? Nadia Bashir.
Uh, my team.
Yeah, she sent me a message that I regret to inform that I will opt out of the course CRIP hackathon. So I assume she's not been joining the calls.
She skipped one call, the last one.
Yeah, the message she sent me was on 14th August.
Yeah, yeah. She missed the call after that. Then, yeah.
Yeah, so see, people are falling apart, right? This is also an experience. Like think about it. When I do Testoper, a lot of people will come, wanted to help, and then afterwards they fall out, right? And this is what happens when I do startups and many other things that I do. That's what happens. You need to get trained. Your bloodstream should get trained. Like people will come and go, and that's life, right? and you just need to move on, create a continuity plan and continue doing this, right? This is something that you need to really train yourself, train your AI in your head. All right, this is important. So Nadia, she's not going to come. Anyone else in your team, Shad and Joy?
No one's dropped out, but again, some people are doing more work, some people are doing less work. That's all. Hopefully, we want to be in a place where everyone's contributing as much as they can.
Yeah, that's going to take time, one step at a time. But are they? What's important is, even if they are doing 30 minutes a week, are they consistent in delivering that 30 minutes a week, right, Shad? That's the most important thing. It's not like a person who's spending 10 hours, is better than a person spending 1 hour, right? To me, this is another business learning, right? To me, I would really rely on a person who is consistent rather than who is over delivering or under delivering or over promising, under promising. I strongly believe in the consistency and the attitude of the person.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, focus on that. That would really change the way that you guys think. Okay, so the next question I have, Joy, any inputs from you? People falling out, new people adding.
Gundeep and Pankaj didn't attend a couple of calls, but when I reached out to
have they informed why they did not attend?
They held up.
Joy, Pankaj was there in today's call. Pankaj had joined today's call.
Oh, okay. That was my mistake. I was so engrossed in the speaking, so I didn't notice that. I'm sorry. He said he was going to join, so that was my mistake, Kader.
No problem. But yeah. It's fine. I know my question is the people joining is good, right? If the people join, if the people does not join, have they informed you guys that they are not able to join, or they just don't join without informing?
Maybe they don't join without informing. Sometimes, right? Yeah. But that was my mistake. Pankaj said he was joining, and then I didn't hear him talk. Usually he talks a lot, so then I thought, oh, maybe he did. And that was my mistake. But Gundeep has not attended. He said he was going to this afternoon when I called him.
Mm-hmm. See, today we have this call, right? I have not heard anybody telling me that they won't join, but they did not join today. So what does it mean? This is what I'm asking you, right? You both as the leaders, right? What does it mean?
Maybe they are busy or losing interest.
To me, they don't respect, right? They don't respect others. They don't respect themselves. This is also from the business side very important to kind of understand, okay? Like, for example, if I commit to something, I make sure that I go. If I cannot join, I basically tell them, hey, I cannot join because of this reason. Or if I wanted to opt out, I go back and tell them, hey, I wanted to opt out because of this reason. Or if I'm going to join late, I'm going to tell them beforehand, hey, I'm going to join late, but I will join. So what does it mean? It means that he respects others' time and also respects himself. Whatever may be the reason, right? It doesn't really matter. Whether it is an emergency that you have to go, okay, if you meet with an accident where you have no way to do it, that kind of serious emergency I'm not talking about. I'm talking about you being within a reach of any emergency situation, communication reach in any emergency situation. If you do not inform the other person, it basically means you don't respect the other person and you don't respect yourself and your time and your commitment. So this is also a lesson I wanted you to learn. In my case, it's the same thing. I experienced this in multiple times, right? Whether it is a test topper, whether it is a startup company, whether it is my day job, whether it is my everywhere that I help and volunteer and I support, I see this, but I overlook because I'm a leader, right? I have to overlook, not create chaos. But at the same time, inside my heart, I know that this is the person who does not respect himself nor respect others. So this is also another lesson I want to make sure that you guys learn and keep this in your mind. Because when you are a leader, right, you need to form a team who respects each other, who respects the time of given by each other, right? And also respects himself. This is very critical. Remember, these are all the points I'm telling you in the business session. These are all the points that you should remember for lifetime.
That is one good thing I've noticed in Vaishali. That's one good thing I've noticed in Vaishali Kadam. She's always on target and she's really good when it comes to, respecting people. She's really good.
Yeah, make sure.
Yeah, she's on this call too, yeah.
Because it's a courtesy, right? Like today I see that Pankaj and Kapil joined late, but they never informed before, hey, I'm going to join late.
Hi, sir. I'm really sorry for joining late. Actually, I was in a call with programs team. Our call started by 6:30 and it was still call. So I really, I missed to join on time. The call was going.
Here I'm not complaining anyone, Kapil. I'm trying to give a business session here, right? These are all the things that you need to do as an individual and learn, manage as a leader, right? Like, doesn't really matter whether you are in other call or not. It could have taken a minute to inform that, hey, I'm going to be joining late. If you should take it as a lessons learned, right? Because that's what I was trying to explain. So we went through multiple points today in this business session, right? What you need to look for in an individual is the people leaving or people joining. If people leave, don't worry, because people will leave. People will come and people will leave. You train yourself, your AI, in a way that you are prepared for that, and create a backup plan to continue building the team, right? So that's number one lesson that I was sharing with the team. And then the second lesson was more from the point of view of coming together and going through this whole exercise together, working with the people, solving the problems with each other, and then delivering output, right? This is going to be a very strong strength that you are going to learn, right? That was the second thing that we talked about. And the third thing that I wanted to talk about today is the respect. And that respect as a leader, I was giving example, and at that time, the timing was right, Pankaj, and you joined. But it's nothing against you, Pankaj and Kapil, right? Don't get me wrong. But this is a lesson that I wanted to give. So to me, everybody has to respect everyone. If you can join, let them know you cannot join. If you want to discontinue the project, let them know that you're going to discontinue this project. If you wanted to do a little bit less compared to others because you have less time, let them know that this is the reason. You cannot join, let them know you cannot join. Or if you are delayed, let them know you cannot delay. So if you don't do that, it's from the individual point of view and also from the leader point of view, both the sides, they don't respect each other. That's what it means. He does not respect his commitment because he accepted the meeting, he did not join on time. He does not respect himself, first of all, right? Or join delay. Second thing is he does not respect other people in the call who wants to really work together and contribute something. So this is a lesson that I wanted you guys to learn. Nothing specific to any person, but I wanted you guys to really learn this as a third key point today. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a couple of things. The first thing that I wanted to jump into is, let's share the screen here. Okay, go back to Teams. Go back to projects, general, files, business sessions. So the last business session, I know that we missed something there, which was basically the business model. So we talked about two things last time. So the first thing, can you guys hear me well, right?
Yes.
Okay. We talked about two things just as a refresher. The first thing is customer validation we talked about. And we asked ourselves few questions, right? Did we really, went out and spoke to customers, who's going to pay money, users who's going to use this tool and so on. And we were, identified who are all the different types of users will be interested to do. And all those kind of things are very, very important when you're building something, creating something. It's not only from the point of view of your companies or your ideas, right? It's also from the point of view of anything that you do. Like, for example, think about it at home, right? You wanted to cook, for example, fish. And if you know none of your home members at home like fish, you cooking fish is of no use, right? Only you're going to eat it, right? So anything that you do, validating it is very, very important. And we talked about that. And then the second thing we talked about, execution and design. This is related to the talent that I was talking to you about, the second point, the soft skill point that I was talking to you about. You're going to go through ups and downs. People come, leave, everything, but you have to do it together in a way that you're able to achieve that. And you need to ask some most important questions. And one of the important thing that I was training you as a lesson was, don't think too much. Don't think of, you're not going to know everything in this world. This is the reality. You're not going to eat everything in the buffet. This is the reality. When you go to the buffet, what do? You pick you might taste a little bit every one, and then you might like some dishes and you take that dish more and eat it to your satisfaction. It's the same thing. When you're building your product or when you're doing anything, right? You need to choose minimum viable product and do the best out of that, rather than doing 50 things and doing nothing, worst of all, doing worst of all, right? Not giving justice for all. So this is another real skill that you need to develop yourself. And when it comes to really a hackathon, or when you're starting a company, when you want to go and pitch in front of an investor, you have to have some working demo, right? It's important. There are different levels of investments that you go and ask, right? Seed, sometimes working level demo is good, but some people expect some of the ideas has customers before they give you the seed money and things like that, right? But you have to have a working product. Just an idea doesn't work anymore. It used to work in the past because very few people used to be an entrepreneur, but now everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. And 100 people come up with an idea, but end of the day, when you sit and listen to that idea, 99 ideas are the same ideas. So the investors have become really smarter, right? They know which is unique, which is not unique before put in the money. So from the demo point of view, you have to make sure it's there, and maybe you have some customers before you actually get investments. And the execution and design is a critical thing. And you have to make sure when you have this prototype or demo, you go again to your customers and users and get the feedback. Hey, you told me you would buy from me if you have these features. Can you look at it? Is this what you expected me to do? And was it user friendly? Is your user experience better? I mean, did you feel it attracted towards using the product, or did you feel pain in using my product? We talked about zero touch last time, right? Then we were supposed to be talking about business model. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to cover a pitch deck and business model. Two things I wanted to cover in today's session. So when you think about business model, there are a few things that you need to ask yourself. Obviously, right? You're doing a business with your startup idea. And that means you wanted to make money. If you want to make money, if you're going to sell the same thing as everyone is going to sell, you can make money, but it's going to be difficult to make money. This is what I was talking to you guys in the last session as well. Depending upon the market, the product that you choose and the market that you address. Maybe there is a market and maybe there are 50 competitors already there. You are coming as a 51st competitor. It doesn't mean that you cannot make money. You still can make money, taking away the market share from the other competitors. If you don't have your product unique, right? This is what is going to happen. But still, that is not a bad idea too, right? It's something to start with. You can have some ideas and make some money, taking away from someone else making money without having any unique idea. But if you wanted to really disrupt the market, then you have to have a unique idea. And now that unique idea could be in a multiple ways, right? You can compete in the same market for like job search market, right? Like Naukri, what Joy is doing. But you can do some twist in it, so people start to use yours better than Naukri.com, for example, right? You can do that, or you can create something where there is Nobody has done it before. And this is where I always try to explain my favorite example. You might have heard it before. If not, you will hear it again. Uber. The business model of Uber is abundance. The business model of Airbnb is abundance, depending upon abundance business model. So what does it mean in practice? See, think about it. 30, 40 years ago, there were so many people. They had money and they did not have cars to buy. So they had to wait for the car manufacturers to manufacture and give. And then a lot of businesses started because there was a scarcity, right? A lot of businesses started coming into the car business, manufacturing the cars, because they know that people wants to buy a car, but there is no cars available. So if I start a business, I can make money because people have money to buy. That is how it used to be before. That is the business model, right? Scarcity business model. But now it is an abundance business model. Uber is a good example. So if I go back to the olden days, people who did not have money to buy car, but they wanted to go in the car for safety, they had money to do that. And that's why all these taxi companies came into the picture. Many different taxi companies came into the picture. But today, there are so many taxis, whether it is a taxi company or an individual, your car or my car, there are so many cars that are available out there. Now, how I can make a business out of the abundance resources that are available out there? That is the business model for Uber. Airbnb, so many houses are there. Empty houses are there. How can I make use of that abundant houses and make money? Just think about it for a second. Uber does not own any cars. Yes, of course, now they are investing on, driverless cars and stuff like that, right? A lot of story around that. But think about it. They did not invest any money on car and they became a $1 billion unicorn. Amazing, right? So that's all ties back to the big and unique idea. And what is your key value proposition? How your company is going to be perceived by others as something that you are providing which is unique. Right? So unique idea is one thing. You have a unique idea, that's one thing. But how is that unique idea is going to be perceived by your users and customers is the value proposition. So if you wanted to tell to the user and customer A, B, C some point, what are you going to actually tell them to attract to use your product? That is key value proposition. The difference between the unique idea is an idea, but how it is going to be perceived by the users is the key value proposition. That's the difference. This has to be clearly understood. The third thing is, once you have a unique idea, once you created this key value proposition, third question to ask yourself is, well, I have a unique idea and I have a key value proposition, but how am I going to make this business successful? There are so many ideas that are unique. There are so many very good key value propositions, but those businesses die. Why they die? Because they don't give it a thought of how am I going to make that business successful. I'll give you an example. It could be a bad founder. He does not want to give any money to anyone, any share to anyone, and he wants to keep everything to himself. Could lead him to the failure because he had unique idea, he had value proposition, but led him to a failure. Why? Because he was not able to get the product on time to the market. The second reason could be, because he was a little bit, narrow-minded and he does not want to share the success with others. Just as an example. You might ask, hey, I have a unique idea, I have a key value proposition, still my business is failing. You know, there are hundreds of reasons for the business to fail. I just gave one example. The other example could be, you had unique idea, key value proposition, but you did not have a right team. You did not bring right people together to build that on time. So you failed. The second thing is you built it on time, but you built it so bad, you failed. So it is also very important to think of how to make your business successful from various criteria. You know, even though you have your unique idea and key value proposition, something that I wanted you to really, really remember. It's not about you just have technical skills. It's good for nothing. Trust me. The technical skills is good for career growth. It's good for many things. When I say it's good for nothing, what do I mean by saying good for nothing? Maybe it was a hard word, but good for nothing meaning it is not the only thing that's going to make you successful and your business successful. It is just a part of it. Even when you're working for someone, just having a technical skill, you being a good coder is not only the reason you're going to be successful. You need to have soft skills. You need to know how to work with other people. You need to know how to talk to the manager. Some people go and talk to manager and they complain about other person to make sure that, you know, he is in a good book of a manager. But trust me, manager is not a fool. He knows when you are coming and complaining about someone else to him, he knows that you would go and talk bad about manager to someone else. There's so many things that you need to consider yourself, right? So it's not just having a coding programming, right? It's enough. You have to have technology skills, right? You have to have entrepreneurships. You have to have leadership skills. You have to have soft skills. That's why if you go back to Testoper, right, our thought process is to help the developers, testers, and operation person, not only just coding, right, but we wanted to do different programs for many years to come, so we can help them to understand different areas of talent and develop themselves into one masterpiece, right? A future workforce. And that's very true. You might think about it so many times in your career, you might have faced this. I'm doing so good in my life. I'm very good. I'm better than anyone. And I do work 200 times, 300 times better than the other person who does work next to my seat. But still, I'm not successful. Why? It's not that you are doing 300% more work than the other person who is sitting next to you is the reason for your failure. The reason for your failure is you do not know something which he knows. So your 300% effort on putting and developing is actually not helping you. So you need to start broadening your skills from the business point of view to really, you know, think of in a broader picture to become successful. So that includes competition, right? You need to really understand the competition. You need to really understand how am I going to acquire the customer from the business point of view and also from your career point of view. How am I going to acquire my manager to see me as a trusted advisor, to see me as a person with an integrity? What should I do? What should I not do to acquire customers, to acquire respect? Should I go and ask my manager, I am not happy with my salary increase, can you give me 2% more? Or should I do things in a way that he gives 10% more to me? But of course, you know, every organization has politics, leave the politics aside. But still, even in the game of politics, if you are able to do things in a way that is respected with full of integrity, you will always beat others, whether it is a business or whether it is a career. So you have to think about everything holistically, about competition, about customer. If you have to name, if I put fingers, right, the first one is Fingers on. The first one is technology. Which technology should I use to make this work, my business work? Second thing is competition. Who are all the competition? How am I different from them? Third thing is know about customers. Fourth thing is know about market. Which market are you going to play? So technology, customers, competitors, market. Like a 4 key points that you should always be thinking all the time. And start planning one step at a time. Remember this word from me, right? A business lesson, right? One step at a time. Don't hurry. Slow and steady. Because I have done personally, I'm sharing my experience. I've hurried in many different areas and I have failed. And I've learned this lesson by going through a lot of hardships. Do it slow and steady. Think twice. If you start seeing a growth which is spike, think twice before you take that and go towards that path. Think twice. Convince yourself. There could be a job which might someone can come and offer you, which is like 50%, 70% more salary than what you are making now. Think twice, or maybe even thrice. Maybe someone is coming and giving you a business. You're doing an annual turnover of $100,000. If someone is coming and giving you a business of $2 million, think twice. It is okay to not take it rather than taking it and suffering. The more you get comes with more risks. So evaluate the risks. Have mitigation plans. How to overcome them. There's always going to be unknown risks, right? But you should be able to smart enough to foresee the risks that you can mitigate. And how can you get that kind of a mindset? Only when you get exposure. How do you get exposure? By taking advantage of the people who are experienced around you and who wants to help you to grow. Clinch on to them. You will get exposure. There's two ways to get exposure. One way to get exposure is clinch on to the person who has experience, one or more person who has experience, and learn from them. And then the second thing is you learn by yourself, struggle, fail, and then learn. Both ways are good. But I would prefer a way which is a mix of both, which would make you very successful. So just to wrap up from the business model point of view, just make sure key points. Is your idea good? Are you able to position your ideas for your users and customers and they perceive it right and they are willing to invest and use your product? Good. Then I have unique and value proposition. Can I make this business successful? Remember, there are so many things that can fail. Even though you have both the things, you can fail making your business successful. So we gave some examples. Remember those points. And remember about 4 key things: customers, competitors, market, technology. Sometimes, like for example, Avatar movie, just to give you an example, it was thought by the what was his name, man? Steven Spielberg, right? Am I saying right name? Director of that movie?
Yeah.
So he thought about this idea like 15, 20 years ago, but he could not implement it because the technology was not available. And he waited for the technology to be available before implementing it. So that's why the technology also is critical. And the whole thing, success is how are you going to acquire your first hand? You remember, whenever it takes a new position, right? Whether it is a governor, prime minister, president, whatever, they always say first 100 days. Remember this. That 100 is like a golden number. How are you going to acquire your first 100 customers? Very, very critical, guys. So with that, I wanted to kind of wrap up our last week's session this week, and I'll give introduction to the pitch desk, right? And then probably go through them in our next business session. So 3 topics you should be very, very convenient and well versed with. Validation process, customer validation process, very, very important. Execution and design, being modest and building something that works best rather than building hundreds of things, and thinking about business. Customer validation, execution and design, thinking about business is very, very critical, fundamental of anything that you do. Now I'm going to go back in the same section. I have put today's deck. Today, what I wanted to present, which is called as pitch deck, right? So what I did was I kind of took some sample pitch decks and I just created this to kind of explain you. But now this is not the only flow, right? There are so many additional things that you can do. But I wanted to take something minimum to kind of explain you guys what is pitch deck is all about. So first of all, what is a pitch deck? It's like a resume, right? It's like a resume that you have, which you are going to use to get your job, along with your soft skills and how you answer in interview, your presentation skills and all those kind of things. In fact, to get a job, you are actually pitching yourself to get a job. This is the reality. So like that, when you wanted to build your company, when you wanted to build your entrepreneurship skills, intrapreneurship skills within the company that you're working on. Like for example, I work within my company. I go and pitch ideas and business cases within my company and make people to understand, convince, so they can invest on that idea, so I can work on that idea and make more money for my current company. Whether you are an intrapreneur or whether you are an entrepreneur, you have your own company, you want to go and pitch. See, every big company has to have an investors, right? Who supports them. The big companies also have investors. So you need to be able to go and pitch, right? As an entrepreneur, whether you're a startup, mid-sized company or a big company, you should be able to present to get money. Depending upon which level your company are, the pitch deck will differ. The way that I created this pitch deck is for someone who is starting a new company as an entrepreneur. That is how this pitch deck is structured. But if you are an intrapreneur, the pitch deck will be a little bit different. But this is a good place to start. You're a fresh guy, you want to start a new company and you wanted to go and pitch about your company to some investors, or even pitch towards the end of the hackathon to get the prize, or any hackathon that you attend. So there are many things that you can consider, but from the flow point of view, these are all the 10 points that I wanted you to remember. And I will explain you with some examples. I've asked my son to put some examples where applicable. He's put some example. It looks good, but I will explain you guys step by step. So first, you should be able to explain the company purpose, the problem it is solving, the solution that you're trying to provide to solve that problem. It's like a story. And I'm going to only talk about the story, this one slide, for next 5 minutes, and we'll close the session. And the rest of the things we can go through in our next business session in 2 weeks. Remember this point. Anything that you do in your life, it's a story. Whether you're writing, you have to write it like a story. Whether you're speaking, you have to speak like a story. You have to have a definite start and definite end, and the story should flow through. If you're not a good story seller, you cannot be a good writer. You cannot be a good speaker. You cannot be successful in anything as such if you are not able to tell the story. Like for example, if your superior comes and says, "Yeah, I assigned you this task, why have you not completed?" You need to know how to tell the story in response. Story means not lie. Story means the reality, but you need to know how to tell it. Like for example, a person can say, "I did not get time, so I did not finish." The other person might say, "I have been working 10 hours to 12 hours every day, and I have been able to progress so much. I I stumbled upon this particular place where I got stuck, and I have been trying to find the solution, and I've already spoken to 4 or 5 people, and they have given me an alternate solution. And I've been trying out on this. Not all the solutions is actually working to complete the task. And this is my current status. So look at it, how the other person will perceive. Even in this case, he did not have time to complete, right? But rather than saying I did not have time to complete, the way that he's told the story makes him successful than another person says, I work 12 hours, 14 hours a day, but I'm not able to complete. But why? So the storytelling is very, very critical. And that storytelling should also be applicable when you're trying to talk about your company to others, to the judges when you're pitching, to the investors. And the story is pretty simple. And I have created like 10 points, right? And you can add additional point in between here and there, but it doesn't matter, right? Whichever points you add, but you should be able to craft that like a story when you are presenting it or creating a presentation. If you don't have that story in your mind, then what will happen, right? You might face this problem practically when you get there, or if you are already been doing it. If you have not framed your mind with a story to speak to someone else, or in a public forum when you wanted to present, if you don't have a story in your mind, then what will happen is you will talk which does not make sense at all. The other person will think, what is he talking? There's no flow in it. I cannot follow. And then the second thing that can happen is you get a little bit nervous, and then you start writing down what you wanted to speak. And then you'll start memorizing them. And then human mind is such that you forget. So when you are taught to speak, you go to the another step without knowing that you missed something in between what you wrote and prepared. Or if you keep it in front of you and you read it, people will know you're reading it and you're not actually speaking your mind. These are all the practical problems that you will face. Again, I want to go back to the story. Even when you're creating a requirement document, there should be a nice story. Design document, there should be a story. There should be a flow. Very, very important. Okay. Now, from that point of view, the pitch deck flow right now has 10 points. Now, what are these 10 points? The first point is why my company exists today, right? What is my company's purpose? In order for me to do something, I need to have some purpose, right? So what is my company's purpose? What problem am I trying to solve in my company? And how am I solving that problem with my solution? And why should I solve now rather than solving it 5 years after, like Avatar, right? Or solving it 5 years later. Maybe there's a lot of people already solved it. So why now I need to solve this? If I solve this now, what kind of a market that I'm addressing? $1 trillion market, $1 billion market, $1 million market. How big of a market size that my product can be consumed and used? In that market, am I the only one, or there are so many other people who is also serving on that, solving that particular problem with their solution? And how my product looks like, right? I have a problem, this is how I'm solving, but how does my product look like to provide that solution? How am I going to make my business successful? Business model we talked about. Who are my team? How am I going to survive? Financial, money. Without money, nothing happens. How am I going to survive? I can have an idea, I can have everything, but I don't have money. I can't do anything. I can't pay my employee. I cannot run. 10 steps to remember. We'll go through this one after another in our next 2 weeks session. Summary flow, remember, why your company, what is the purpose of your company, what problem it is solving, how are you solving, solution, how your product looks like that solves that problem, and why should I solve now? How big is the market? Am I the only one, or is there any other competitors? How am I going to make my first 100 customers and make my money? There are different things that you can do, but how am I going to make money? Do I have the right team? Remember, I was telling you who is coming, who is going. Do I have a right team with right attitude, who respects each other? Do I have financials to do things or support to do things? Remember this point for today. With that, we will close the session. Rest of the things we will continue talking in our next session. So I'll open the floor for questions for next 4 minutes. If anyone has any questions, please let me know.
I want to introduce Eduardo Lucas to the team. He's from Brazil. He has just called in. I just recruited him to our Intel Recruit project.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Welcome, Eduardo. Where are you from?
From Brazil. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Perfect. So what we are trying to do here is, Edura, we are trying to just, help people to go through an exercise of how to come up with an idea, how to deal with different things to build something, create something, right? That's what we are trying to do here. And we are trying to do it with a small group of people this second half. And then next year, probably we will go with a big group of people executing the official hackathon, right? So that's what we are trying to do. So we have two teams. Joy, thank you for introducing and bringing Eduardo. I hope that you guys together are able to build this idea and learn in the process, right? Whatever that you have been taught so far. And same thing, Shad, with your team. I trust that you guys also continue doing this and be a great experience for you all. And this is the session that we do normally bi-weekly, where I kind of help the team to understand the big picture, right? On different areas. And probably, you attended today, Eduardo. Maybe you attended a little late, but you would have understood what we have been going through so far. Any questions or anything from anyone, please? No?
Kader, I would like to ask you, on the completion date of this project, is it December?
Well, I think it's up to your team, right? This is a pilot project that we are doing together, right?
Okay.
And helping each other. But I gave the target, at least guys try to finish it before end of November. Then whatever that I'm training now, you can create a pitch deck, and then you can pitch it. Both the team can pitch, and maybe we can have a pitch day and probably celebrate virtually. The winning team can get some small gifts, if not big gifts, right? But in official hackathons, we will try to find more money from the sponsors. But now maybe the winning team can get Starbucks card or something, right? We'll figure it out at that point of time. But this is more about the exercise that we are doing it together. So try to do it complete it by end of November, please, if you can. So first week of December, we can organize this pitch day between two teams. And by the time you would have completed this whole cycle, you would have become an expert of hackathon. You will become a hacker and expert of hackathons to attend in future as a hacker. Any other questions? All right, so I want to take a minute here to kind of understand, Eduardo, what do you do in Brazil?
I'm a software developer. Today I'm working with Python and Django, developing web applications. I have a background in IT for many years, more than 20 years, working as a developer. Before that, I used to work with Oracle applications, working with Oracle database and also with Oracle tools. And after 2015, when I was let go from the company I was working for, I started to work with web applications, and it's more or less 4 or 5 years that I've been working with web applications. And I chose Python and Django because of, it's an easy language to work with. And Django, I mean, for me, it's hard for me to say, but it's one of the best frameworks that I've been working on. So this is what I do today. I'm developing web application using Python and Django. This is what I do.
Perfect. And you work for a company or you work as a contractor?
I'm contractor. I'm today I'm in a 3-month contract. I was told that the contract is going to be renewed, I hope, and the next period of contract might be ending by December. And I have no plans for the next year, but for a while, I kind of, I have some guarantee that I'll be working for this year, but I don't know what's going to happen next year.
Something good will come. No, for sure, Eduardo.
I hope so.
Yeah. So what made you? How do you know about Testoper and what made you to join? Have you been joining other programs of Testoper community, the Wednesdays and the Saturday sessions, or?
Well, Python is a very dynamic language. I like it very much. And I started, as I said before, I started working with web applications. But today I'm trying to understand better, data science. I'm also interested in automation with Python, using Python. Artificial intelligence is another field that I really, really interested in. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
So,
And have you attended have you been attending the other programs, the Wednesday and Saturday programs?
Sorry, didn't get that. Sorry.
Are you attending other programs outside of Hackathon? Like we have Codathon.
No. I'm not attending anyone.
Oh, this is the only program that you're.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So I just connected with him on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
That is how he got in here.
All right. So you should basically let him know about, probably he does not know what is Testoper is all about, right? We focus on developers, testers, and operations experts, and we have different programs. And you should basically, Joy, help him to understand about our community.
All right.
And also ask him, because there's so many free programs that we do, outside of this hackathon. Maybe Joy, you can give Eventbrite link and so on to him. So, all right.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, if you allow me, just figure out that Joy seems to be a female, and because of the name and there's no picture, I thought it was a man that I was talking to. I'm surprised.
All right, so I'll let you both to figure out that, and continue attending other programs and support Testoper community. It's a non-profit community, Eduardo. We all help each other to learn from each other. That's what we do. And through this, we get a lot of contacts, and sometimes people get job, they get certifications. Joy has done some certifications, they get jobs, and sometimes people come together and start some companies. And even I have been advising few startup companies. I might have a requirement in future to recruit some people into those companies. So when you are all together, it basically helps us to grow together, right? So that's the thought process.
Well, it's okay. That's the idea. I like it.
Perfect. Awesome. You guys have a great evening, and I will talk to you in 2 weeks. Prepare yourself with the mindset to hear about, learn about the pitch deck in 2 weeks. Okay. All right.
Great. Thanks, Kader.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Kader.